demo because I haven't sewn on video in a while. So, hi, Leah from my sewing room here. It's Leah here. I am your fearless leader for today. I have some fun stuff to share. So, we have a really pretty bundle of fabric. Dawn has kitted up fabric for the Garden Party quilt. It's a Laura Heine pattern. It's a collage quilt, sort of. It's more like regular applique with big applique shapes to play with your decorative stitches from your machine. So what I thought I'd do for you guys is stitch a tiny little bit because I haven't done machine applique in a little while and I think it would be fun. But this would be a good sit down and sew for a few minutes now and then kind of project. If you just want to trace things. And I think Dawn made this block just for me because it's all the warm colors, the pinky reds and the oranges. So I'm set up on a Bernina 570. And right now it's got a 9mm stitch on it. Your quilt does look awesome, man. It's nice to finish things. We're very excited. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to find a decorative stitch that I like. There's no rhyme or reason. You can pick any stitch in your machine and make it work for decorative applique. And I think we've got you on the roster for teaching a more thorough class on this. So this is just a quick demo and see what's possible kind of thing. I'm actually just going to start with a couple straight stitches into, oh no, I'm going to flip that around. I've watched Anne do this. I can figure this out. So we're just going to do a couple straight stitches into where I need to start my decorative stitch to secure my seam. Oop, too far. Look at that. Now I'm going to flip around and start my decorative stitch. Right there. So I'm going to grab a decorative stitch from the machine. I'm going to go into the decorative stitches and, oh, closer. What stitch would I like? I'm going to do this one because it'll stitch fairly quick. The other thing I'm going to set up to have the machine do right now is only to do a single repeat of this design at a time. Because if I do a long, straight, leafy thing here, it's probably going to be too long to get around my tight little curves. So I'm going to set this up to do a single repeat. And I think I'd actually like my little leafy things to be going the other direction. I'm going to mirror it as well. I've got this set up to do a single repeat, and then I'm also using the knee lift on the machine. So when I need to pivot, I'll be able to use my knee lift to raise and lower the presser foot. Because that makes me happier when I sew. And then just to throw everybody really off, I'm actually sewing with my left foot and using my knee lift with my right. So this is going to sew one repeat of the design and stop. And my goal right now is just to keep the center line of this stitch right at the edge of the fabric. So one repeat. And we're only going to pivot at the end of a stitch, of the complete stitch. So that's the end. If I felt I needed to pivot, I can pivot just a little bit. Right now we want to just keep the needle and the stitch moving straight along the edge of our fabric. Decorative applique, similar to this, is a great place to play with your decorative stitches and fun threads. So this stitch happens to have a lot of straight stitching in it. If you're back into the straight stitch, it's an okay place to pivot. You'll want to keep your fabric perpendicular. So under the flower, there is a layer of probably medium weight tearaway stabilizer. And this is to support the decorative stitches as they're being sewn. And then there's the white fabric that the flowers actually applique onto. And those are just held together with a spray glue called 505. It'll help keep your block nice and flat as you're doing your decorative stitching to have the stabilizer underneath, and you can remove it later on so that your quilt hangs nice and soft on your bed. And depending how heavy the stitching is in your decorative stitching, you might need a heavier stabilizer. So a big heavy satin stitch will need more stabilizer than a loose running stitch like this one. And then I'm going to flip this back around and I'm going to go back to my straight stitch. And just do a couple straight stitches in place. So, look at that. Fun little stitching. You have a feathery petal. Little leafy things poking off of it. It's lots of fun. But just about any stitch will work as an applique stitch. And I don't have the right color of thread for the next piece. Maybe I do. Maybe that orange would work. Let's find another stitch. I'm going to do one more before we go. How about little stars? We'll do the same setup. I'm going to tell it to do one repeat. I'm going to start with a couple straight stitches, back to the beginning. Okay. Back at the beginning, and then we'll go back into the stitch I actually wanted to use. Now that I found it. We're set up for a single repeat. Ooh, this is a big star. How fun. It might be too big for the scale of this thing. That's okay. Now I'm at a nearly straight run here, so I'm actually just going to turn the option off to do all the repeats and let it just do a big long run. It's nearly straight. Looks like it's going to finish where I exactly intended. I'm just lucky. It's not really what I planned. A couple straight stitches back through along the edge of the fabric there. Raise the foot. I'm going to pull a longer bobbin tail. We have another applique shape done. So thank you for joining me today. I'm going to let you guys go for the day and say be safe, be kind, be calm, and we'll see you tomorrow.